Hello. I feel like I owe you an explanation. I am officially in Montenegro. A week off trail, not hiking. I was just getting like so much anxiety about hiking, and actually now that I'm back to the trail, I feel the same way. It's just been really stressful to like just navigate everything. It's just like nothing's ever a clear answer, it feels like. Got really tired after like a month of doing that, and so I took a week off. I explored Bosnia, I went to the towns, I ate a lot of food, I hung out with people, had conversations, went to restaurants, hung out, and just like had a nice time being a regular person for like a week, and that was really lovely. And then now I am in Montenegro. I'm about to start the trail. This is like the border right over here. The plan is to hike the length of Montenegro, and then if I have time into Albania. I've got like 10 or 12 days left of hiking time. Got a ride back to the trailhead here, and the guy was very concerned. He's like, I think I just dropped this woman off to her death. He kept saying there are grizzly bears. I googled it, there are brown bears, which is like, also, something to take into consideration. I got a new and better hat when I was in Sarajevo. And here are things we're remembering today. I just ran into another person who just hiked across this section. They were alive. They didn't die. Also, he's not a hiker. He's hitchhiking. He's hitchhiking from Turkey and decided to just hike this section. So that's definitely contributing to why he was like, wow, that was horrible. Okay, yeah, probably was horrible if you go from nothing to that. I'm not going from nothing, even though it kind of feels like I didn't do anything. It's so weird how quickly my brain just erases everything I've ever done. It's really frustrating, actually, because like I hiked 600 or 700 kilometers already, and my brain is literally like, oh, you're starting again. You're starting from zero. You've never done anything in your whole life. It's absolutely wild how quickly that just like is completely erased. Like it never happened. It's really frustrating, actually. I'm not sure how I change that. I just have to keep reminding myself, like, you've done this before. You literally just did it. You did it a week ago. You've been doing it for weeks. You've done it. You've done a whole trail before. Anyway, it's so weird and so frustrating that every time I accomplish something, it's like it never happened. Ever. Poof, just disappears off the face of my brain. Something to work on, probably. Anyway, this is my turn to go up the giant ass mountain. So let's go do that. Yeah. We can do that. I got fresh legs. I ate good food. I got food in my backpack. Let's friggin' do this. Let's do it. Whew, it is like walking an overgrown tightrope up this. Whew, very steep and very narrow. It's really humid and hot. It's also so funny. This trail is so overgrown and like so steep, and it's just like sliding off the edge of a cliff basically. And it is still in the top 10% of trails on this route so far. It's still one of the nicer sections I've hiked in the last 700 kilometers. So that's telling you something. Boy. Oh yeah, you don't say? All the way down there? Yeah, shocking. That's quite beautiful. Now I think actually that's the bit that I didn't do in Bosnia, which I'm perfectly okay with, but it does look really beautiful. It actually looks like a real mountain, which is new for this trail. Beautiful. All right, so we're up at 1,200 meters now. So we finished that big climb. That was nice. Didn't take very long. It was only like an hour and a half, so it's pretty good. I have not seen a Via Dinarica sign in I don't know how long. A very long time. These lovely folks folks in the house behind me let me fill up my water at their property. I have no idea what they said. The woman was saying something very emphatically to me, but I do not know what it meant. But they were very kind. And they, gave me 2 liters of water, so that's great. As it turns out, I have passed the 1,000 kilometer mark on this trail. Not that there are trail markers or mileage markers, just someone had shared a waypoint, and I passed that waypoint earlier this afternoon, and I forgot about it. So I haven't walked 1,000 kilometers, but 1,000 kilometers of the trail is behind me, so that's cool. I walked a lot of it though, a lot of it. I didn't really even keep track, and I kept thinking I was only halfway, but I was much further than halfway. I mean, there's only like, I don't know, 250 or 260 kilometers left of this thing. So this is marked on my map as a squattable house. And actually, it's a pretty good spot to sleep for the night. It's not the worst. Someone has clearly cleaned it, and like I'm sitting on a stump that is definitely set up for a camping situation. Sorry, the bugs are just like out of control right now. I would put up my tent in here just to be away from the bugs, but it's only like 5:45, and I think there's a water source in about 9 kilometers. There's also a picnic shelter type of thing, so I kind of feel like if I just get there at dark, I can sleep there. That's my intention. I don't know. I really don't know. But I feel like just stopping and sitting in this dilapidated house for the next 3 hours until it's dark seems like weird and boring. So I might as well just hike another 9 kilometers and then I'll be a little further along. And that's that. That's the house from the outside. And then that one room has been cleaned out. It's pretty good, honestly. Would recommend. To put my tent here, but I'm just gonna do that anyway. I don't know, there's some houses here. It might be someone's property, but maybe it's just a community space. Whatever, I'm gonna put my tent up because it's almost 8 o'clock, so that's the end of today. It's very pretty out here. It did turn out to be another full day of road walking though. It's like you just cannot get away from it. Nice, a nice climb on a trail at first, and then the rest of the day was fully road walking, so. Well, today all went smoothly. I even brought myself burek for dinner, so there you go. One last taste of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Oh, it's so good. I took a bus from Sarajevo to Puzil today through the Montenegrin border. I could have taken the bus back to where I started or where I left the trail, or somewhere else in Bosnia where I could have reconnected with the trail. But I was a little confused about crossing the border because some people said you need to get a permit, but you got to do that 15 days ahead. Some people say it's not a big deal. These are mostly EU citizens saying this, and they don't seem to have a problem with it, but I'm not an EU citizen. And then other people are saying, yeah, probably need to go through a land border, and I don't know. And I hate that it's not a real answer anywhere. It's just sort of oh, I don't know. It's really stupid. Anyway, so I know that there are beautiful sections of Bosnia that I skipped, or a beautiful section. It's one section of Bosnia that I skipped. And I tried to hitch for quite a long time, and it was quite hot, and it was getting late in the day, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to cover any mileage, including the like 900 meters I had to climb today, if I like don't get on the trail. So I went to the tourist information center, and they knew a guy who would drive me, and I had to pay him some dollars or whatever, but it was like a half an hour, 40-minute drive. He was so concerned for me. He really thought he was like dropping me off to my doom. He's like, where do you want me to take you? And I was like, just this little like path off the side of the road by the dam. And he's like, that doesn't go anywhere. And he doesn't speak any English, and I don't speak Montenegrin or whatever language he was speaking. I don't recognize it. He's just like, I'm like, yeah, up the mountains. And I tried to show him where I had come from, where I was going, but he was not understanding it because it's like a foreign concept. I can absolutely understand that you'd be like, what on earth are you talking about? What do you mean you walked from Slovenia? That doesn't make any sense. Like, there are bears and snakes, and do you have spray? And like, you shouldn't be wearing shorts, and like all this kind of thing. And I was like, thank you. I lied. I told him I had bear spray, and I told him I, would put on pants, but like, I'm not going to do any of those things. That man was so worried about bears, but communities who are worried about bears don't leave their trash cans like that. I can tell you that much. I think that's my cue to go to bed. Good night, everyone. Oh, don't get in my tent. Good morning. The bees have decided they want to live in between my tent and my fly, and they're so loud. So I'm awake. I'm up. Okay. Jeez Louise. You hear that? Jesus. Just the loveliest people. Another man just filled my water up. He was so nice. I like how everyone like shakes your hand when they meet you here. I don't know, it's nice. Shakes my hand and takes me over to the well, gets the hose, fills my water, then is like, drink it. So I drink a bunch of it, and then he refills it again, and just, gives me that like double handshake, and is like, good job kind of thing. And I was like, oh, thank you. Anyway, just a very lovely human. And yeah, we're on the road. Good morning also. We headed into Durmitor National Park today. I gotta go up a lot. There's a little lake that I'm intending to camp at. I think it's at like nearly 2,000 meters though, so it's gonna be some climbing today, as I'm currently doing. Oh, look, it's very pretty out here. These rolling hills are so beautiful. What an interesting texture. That was a nice little pit stop after like 10 kilometers this morning. I had a 3-egg omelet and a basket of bread and a coffee and an orange juice. And it was all only €10, and I feel like that's pretty good considering we're just like kind of out here in the middle of nowhere. It's pretty cheap. I'm only hiking like 23 kilometers today, which is not super long, especially because I've already done half of it almost. I felt like I had time to sit for an hour and eat breakfast and hang out because it's still only 10 a.m. So there's a lake that I'm gonna camp by tonight, so that's why I'm not going that far. So it looked like a nice place to stay. And then then I'm like, I don't know, 15 kilometers from town tomorrow. I have to walk all the way to the bottom of this now, and then all the way back up to the top. This word is good to know. Izvor, it means spring, so there's water down there somewhere. It's interesting because all of the like nerves and the fear that I was feeling about getting back on trail that like I knew were unfounded. I was just feeling that way in my body. All just boils down to not knowing what's coming up and then like ruminating on that and making up stories in your head and just like working myself up totally. And I find that on these types of things, it's once you get moving that fear like goes away. After the first couple of miles, you go, oh, right. A, I know how to do this. B, it's not that scary. C, most of what I was feeling was just in my head because I had, concocted a story that this was all going to be very stressful. Typically, these things are really only scary until you start doing them. Okay, there are moments on a thru hike that maybe you get outside of your comfort zone or you hit a section of trail that is difficult, but I don't think any of it is actually scary. It's more just the anticipation. And I think the antidote to fear in these situations is action. Action is what's going to take you out of your head and into your body and into the task at hand, and that fear is just going to go away. It's going to dissipate the more you do. So that's my lesson, just remember that like, oh yeah, every time you start doing something, you feel better about it. Anyway, maybe that's helpful. Now that said, I think that fear and anxiety can also be an indicator of whether you're sort of on the right path or not for what feels good and right for you. However, the only way to really find out if it's good or right for you is, again, action, right? So I sort of gave myself I talked through this situation with myself. I'm like, well, am I feeling like anxious about getting back on trail because I'm just anxious about trail and the condition and I don't know what's coming? Or am I feeling anxious because I actually don't want to do it and I'm doing it because I feel obligated to do it because I started it? And those are the questions I sort of have to ask myself, right? Just because you can doesn't mean you necessarily need to, right? Yes, just because I physically can finish the trail doesn't mean that like I necessarily want to or that it's like aligned with my purpose at this very moment. So I said, I'm going to do a few more days, get into Montenegro, see how it feels. And then if it still sucks, then I will stop. And that's again, the action leads to the clarity. But these kinds of conversations and thought processes and problem solving is ultimately where a lot of the growth comes from when you do a long hike or a big adventure. Because you get the opportunity to check in with yourself over extended periods of time and kind of constantly test that in this sort of extreme proving grounds. And I think that is where a lot of the value in these things comes from, ultimately. Lunch break in which I will actually eat my breakfast because I had breakfast at that little restaurant this morning. So I'm gonna have a coffee and some oatmeal for lunch, and then I've got about 7 kilometers and something like maybe 500 or 600 meters of elevation. So it's gonna be a long afternoon and it's blazing hot out, but what can you do? But there will be a lake there, which is, I want to kind of get there a bit early so that I could, in theory, swim in the lake if it's nice. So, rocking the same fuel can, it will definitely last me until the end of this situation. Because I actually haven't been cooking that much. And some of the huts have had their own fuel sources, so that's been helping. Yeah, I figured this would last me more or less the whole way. I don't use a lot of fuel. Via Dinarica. officially in Durmitor National Park. You're supposed to pay to come in, but when I went to the front, they said, "Oh, you're just here for hiking? Nah, don't worry about it." I was like, "Oh, okay." Because basically no one's here for hiking. A lot of people on motorcycles, a lot of people with like souped up overlanding vehicles, some tour groups, and they basically just like came, saw the view, turned around and left. Excuse me, snake. You look scary. Go away. Excuse me. I've got a snake in here that won't go away. Oh, he's moving now, maybe. I might have scared him. And then a field of nettle on this side. So that's really cool. And he's just hiding in there. I can see him moving. I would really prefer if there weren't more of them in this frickin' field of shit. Oh, it's pissing me off. Just another beautiful day on this dumbass trail. I literally cannot. Like, it's bad enough that I am just like pushing through nettle, but now there are snakes in here somewhere. Super cool. Super cool. Scared me. Came around the corner and they were just there. Well, I made it to the hut. It's interesting, but there's a room in here that I can sleep in. Ta-da! So, but there is some thunder outside, so good thing I can be indoors tonight. There's a little puppy outside. He's very... There's a puppy just sleeping outside. He's very cute. Let me show you. He's probably still here. Hi, puppy. Look at him go. He's so cute. Hi, baby. Where did you come from, huh? Hi. Who do you belong to? Do you just live out here? Oh, sleepy baby. This is something that I will not understand about huts in the Balkans so far, is people just leave their trash in a disgusting pile instead of taking it out with them. It's really gross. It just leads to having like mice and creatures. It's not good. There's also an upstairs. Oy. Ah, stairs are treacherous. Okay, room up here. About the lake. I'm putting my feet in. I don't want to swim. The water's cold and the air got cold. And there's thunder. So it doesn't seem like the time to swim. But I am going to rinse off my legs because they're very sweaty. But it's very beautiful. Again, there's no one here. It's really weird. I don't know where that dog came from. And there's like non-perishables in the like main room of that cabin, but like no real, I don't know, signs of life. It's very strange. I didn't intend to be herding cows today, but here we are. Hello. You were coming out in here. Are you okay? They're just cows. They shouldn't hurt you. Yeah, it's okay. You belong to someone. I've made a friend. It's very cute. It's a good thing I only planned to go as far as I did today, 24 kilometers, because the thunder is still rolling up there, up on the ridge, and that's where the trail would have taken me. I would have had to do another, like, big climb. Oh, sorry. I gave my tuna can to the dog with a little bit of tuna. Don't worry, in Europe, they don't make them sharp on the inside. I checked it with my fingers, so he's just licking away. I don't know who feeds him, or like where he belongs, but I gave him a little bit of tuna, so. Dog's real protective of me. He's trying to keep the cows from coming and getting me, so he's barking at him. But I think he's like quite hungry, and there's a potato here and some butter, and I'm gonna cook it for him. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he deserves a potato. I don't know who's coming for these potatoes or why the heck they're here, but I'm cooking one and I'm gonna give it to the dog. Yeah, that's what's happening. Bowl of dog food. There was like some kind of couscous, and then there's butter and potatoes in there. So I'm gonna give him a plate of food. I think dogs can eat couscous and potatoes. I'm sure that's fine. Hey buddy, do you want some food? Hey, come here. Come here. You want something to eat? Yeah, it's probably hot, but that's for you. You can have it. This has turned out to be a surprisingly nice evening. I have a little friend. He's keeping the cows away. There's like a storm outside, lots of thunder. And yeah, having a nice time. Just reading a book and hanging out with my new dog friend. Yeah, he definitely needed to eat. It's so beautiful out. And I'm so cozy in my little crack house. It's lovely. With my baby dog. Look at him, he's so cute. He has become my friend. I will be sad to leave him tomorrow. Home sweet home. This is not a bad room though. This is pretty good. I think I will sleep like a baby. Found him a little towel to hang out on. What would he have done in the rain if I wasn't here to let him indoors? Just sit outside in the rain like a sad dog? Poor baby. I am in bed, my little situation on the floor. But I'm quite happy, actually. Today was really nice. There were definitely sections of the trail that made me want to fight someone. But then I actually got to climb a mountain, which is what I like to do. And that was really beautiful. And then this like slow evening with my dog friend and like making dinner in the hut and just like watching the sun light up the mountains. A rainstorm, like a thunderstorm. Oh, it was a lovely evening. Yeah, I still got like, 24, 25 kilometers of hiking in. And 1,000 meters of elevation. So anyway, that is that. I am gonna go to sleep. Good night.